Hello and welcome to MetalVice in 666. I'm one of your hosts, Brian, joined with the other host,
Karen.
If you haven't joined us before, 666 is we just talk about a topic for 6 minutes and 66 seconds, trying to hone in our ramblingness and whatnot. It never works, but we try. So, for this episode, Karen, what are we talking about?
Seeing shows when you're not in the venue?
Yes.
I don't know what you want to call this.
I was going to call it Rolling Stones Picnic or something along those lines, because that's sort of where we did this for the first time. So let's start the timer and just dive into the topic and go from there, I suppose. Okay, so the Rolling Stones in 2024, as in most times when they play Chicago, they play Soldier Field. Around Soldier Field, there's sort of a lot of greenery and whatnot. And our thought was we saw them in 2018, 2019, something like that at Soldier Field. Yeah. At the time, that was the most expensive ticket we paid, I think. It was the last seat in the house until a few months later, we bought tickets to S&M 2, which was and is still the most expensive ticket we ever paid for a single show. Also in the very last seat of the house. But we saw the Rolling Stones before. I could see them again. You're sort of like, I saw them once.
Yeah, I'm fine not seeing them again. I saw them once.
And you got to see Charlie. So
yeah.
You were happy with that. Yeah.
I hope that's how he died.
Just having a good time.
Doing his hands.
In any case, when they announced this show here in 2024, I was like, I'm fine not seeing them, but you can sometimes hear the music from where we live, from Soldier Field.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, depending on how the wind's blowing, for sure. And we're like, well, if you can hear it from where we live, you clearly can hear it from sitting in that greenery around Soldier Field. So let's go do a little picnic thing. So they do 2 nights here in Chicago. They did Thursday night and then Sunday night in Chicago.
Like the 27th and the 30th. Of June.
We're recording this on the 29th of June. So we haven't been there for the second night. Well, we went up for the first night for a little bit, just sort of wandering around, waiting to hear the music.
They don't fucking go on until 9:25 p.m.
Which is weird because they're old as shit and you are young and you're still like, fuck these. I want to go to bed. What's going on?
I didn't say it that way. I was just like, I can't believe that they're not going on until 9:25.
Yeah, but I got
when there's one bit. I mean, there is an opener that plays for like 30 minutes, but there's like, they're the only band, like you don't need to go on at 9:25.
In any case, we walked over there and we hung out around Soldier Field. There's a water feature sort of monument thing that we ended up hanging out around a lot, which is about a block away from Soldier Field on the other side of the road. Sat there for a while under a tree. The music wasn't happening or anything. We're like, all right, let's start walking to see if maybe it's just like the wind or something. We just can't hear it. So we walked closer to Soldier Field, very, very close. Some of the greenery was sort of locked down where you can't sit outside of it, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Like, why not? Like,
I
just
don't
let people
why
sit
that
there.
is.
You think you saw a bunch of Swifties out there for Taylor Swift, like hanging out in that area.
Yeah, I mean, they had like news helicopters and stuff show it. So, yeah.
So I don't know why for some bands you can be out there and others you can't, but it's like a park area. Just let people fucking hang out outside in this greenery area type thing, right? So there's a big area on the east side that was sort of blocked off that you couldn't go down. But there was some more greenery area on like the south side of the stadium that you could sit on in. There were people hanging out there as well, hanging out, listening to the music or waiting to listen to the music. And we hung out there for a bit. The one thing I will note is when we were sitting out there, the sort of speakers on the outside telling you, welcome to Soldier Field. Our policy is XYZ, ABC. You can't do this. Excessive standing will get you kicked out, which just seemed weird.
Yeah.
Our only thought is maybe in the aisles or something, like blocking the aisles.
I don't know.
But it was a weird thing to throw in there of like, if you have excessive standing, you will be kicked the fuck out.
But it was excessive standing in the seating area.
In the seating area.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? You're going to a concert.
Yeah.
Like,
but then they had other music blaring in between that and so on and so forth.
playing, not blaring.
Sure. Playing. Eventually, though, the Stones went on stage and you could hear the music, you could hear them. But where we initially were on the southeast side of the stadium, it wasn't that good a volume, I didn't think, with sort of the music and then sort of the speakers themselves doing like the welcome to Soldier Field
Yeah, because the
announcement.
speakers weren't shut off. They like played. I don't know if they ever shut them off, but
I don't think so. Yeah, which is very, very annoying. I kind of understand it. Like, we don't want people here getting a free show, but at the same time, like, you're an outside venue. Fuck it. Shut the fuck up. Let people enjoy.
I don't think that's why. I think it was just part of the thing is like to have that announcement happen.
I don't know. Maybe if we stayed longer. We're going back tomorrow. We're going to spend more time out there tomorrow to see what actually happens. But I felt like it was more of, we don't want people sitting here getting a free show. We want our money in the venue. You should have bought tickets type thing is how I took it.
Oh, I didn't take it. I mean, that's a good thought. I didn't take it that way.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, this is just the thing, the loop that they have.
Yeah, but we did move from the southeast to the southwest sort of area of Soldier Field, and it did sound a little better over there. There was sort of a gap in sort of the building itself where I think the sound could flow better. And if we go back tomorrow, I think we are going back tomorrow, but that's probably where we're going to end up hanging out, is in that little section for sure, and listening to the music from there. Stood there for a little bit. Again, the sound was better in that section, and then we sort of left. There's a walkway. If you follow the south exit, there's like a pedestrian walkway over the train tracks and down. We walked that way, and as we got further away from the stadium, at least on that walkway, I felt like it sounded better over there for sure. I don't know what your
on the
thoughts
walkway?
were. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good area as well, as long as the wind's not blowing weird or whatever. Like that Thursday night, there was like hardly any wind.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good. But otherwise, I think if the wind was blowing or something, you wouldn't be able to hear it as well.
And we've talked about that too with the place where we're living. If the wind's blowing off the lake into the city, it sounds better typically versus if it's from, the west to the east. You don't really pick up the sound as much.
Yeah.
But if you're a block or two from that pedestrian walkway thing, it actually sounds pretty good over there. Like, even as we're walking down the streets, it sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
But it does make me wonder about other venues and other locations where you could possibly do this. Like Wrigley here in the city for sure. I think you could probably be out and around Wrigley and hear it pretty well.
100%, yeah.
Every show I've been to has been within Wrigley, but not out. And if you want to go like Gallagher Way, that like little park area they have just outside Wrigley, I'm pretty sure you need a ticket to get into that.
Oh yeah,
probably. So other than that, you're standing on like on the sidewalks and whatnot, listening to but whatever, it is what it is. But other venues around the world probably have similar setups that you could sit outside and listen to a concert and whatnot.
Yeah,
I would assume.
I saw it just a few weeks ago. I think it was in Munich with Metallica, and like the venue was like kind of down in what it looks like anyways. The venue's like down in a valley, and then people sat on like a hill. And there was a shit ton of people.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen people do that with like F1 races and whatnot. I think it's the same thing where you sit on the hill and you're outside of the racetrack or you're outside of the venue and just like looking down in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm sure there's a lot of venues around the world. I don't know half the venues around the world, so I don't know.
We are at time real quick, but yeah,
where else you could do it. But
same.
That's where I saw.
I think there's a lot of, especially newer sporting venues where they like hold these shows and whatnot, are going into like either the covered domes or the inside-outside rooms where a retractable roof comes on, and I can see them for bands, especially like, again, going back to Soldier Field and the music of, we're going to cover this to try to trap the sound inside and not give away free experiences type thing. That's how I could see it. To me, it makes sense because not all around, but at Soldier anyway, there's giant screens and whatnot, right? So you could stream the concert outside of there and then have concessions walking around, like beer here, get a beer here. Like, I don't know, utilize the space, makes it a little bit extra bucks, but then you probably have to sell that to the band and whatnot as well to give them a cut. But whatever, still, like, make it a whole event around the stadium as well, not just in the stadium.
Yeah,
being in the stadium for sure is the best, but you're still out there listening to live music and hearing live music and just experiencing a new way to consume music. I don't know. I'm excited to go back tomorrow and see exactly how it feels, but it wasn't nearly as good as I had hoped that it would be.
Oh, okay.
Was it sort of around what you expected?
That's what I expected.
Is it really?
Yeah. What'd you like? You thought it was gonna be like inside the bowl?
I expected better sound quality. I guess I didn't expect it to be as muffled.
No, I knew it was gonna be muffled because like Soldier kind of comes up and over. I mean, it's open
Yeah.
It comes up and over. So I was like, okay, it's got to go through that.
But I mean, sometimes we can
area.
hear the sound pretty fucking well from where we are.
Yeah, depending on the wind.
And that's where it's like, well, if I can hear it pretty well from where we are, being 2 miles closer, a mile closer, whatever the fuck we are, it's got to sound better.
I mean, it could have sounded better on the north side of the stage, and we just weren't over there.
Ooh, that's true. Maybe we walk around a lot more tomorrow night and find out the perfect spot.
Potentially.
I don't know. But hey, we're just trying to seek out some live music. Who cares where it is? It's live music. So go check out some live music.
Yep. Bye.